You paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for a brand new home. No one lived in it before you. And within 6 months, the ceiling is cracking, the floor is buckling, and water is pooling under your kitchen sink. That's not a nightmare. That's Tuesday for hundreds of thousands of new homeowners right now. Let's talk about what's actually going on. The new build market has a serious problem, and it's not talked about nearly enough. Builders across the UK and beyond are under enormous pressure to hit government targets. The UK alone has a goal of 200,000 new homes per year. That number sounds great on paper. More homes, more supply, prices come down, everyone wins. Except when the people building those homes are cutting every corner imaginable just to hit a quota. The people moving in are the ones who pay the price. And we're not talking about minor cosmetic issues. We're talking about structural failures, broken systems, and homes that aren't even finished when the keys are handed over. So let's break down exactly what's going wrong, room by room, wall by wall. Start with the most basic material in any home, drywall. In a properly built house, the drywall is smooth, solid, and well finished. In a rush-built home, you're often getting low-grade drywall that starts cracking within months. The plastering is done so poorly that you can't just patch it. You have to rip the whole thing down and start over. That's not a repair cost. That's a renovation cost, and it's happening to roughly 300 families every single week in the UK alone. Now look at what's behind those walls, the plumbing. This is where things get genuinely alarming. Some homeowners are discovering that hot water lines have been routed to their toilets instead of where they should go. Others are finding that PEX piping, the flexible tubing used in modern plumbing, has been installed in the wrong sizes, making future repairs nearly impossible without replacing large sections of pipe. And then there are the leaks. Not leaks that show up during inspection. Leaks that explode weeks after move-in, flooding rooms, soaking subfloors, and causing thousands in damage before anyone realizes what's happening. The speed of construction is directly responsible for all of this. When builders compress timelines to hit delivery targets, workers don't have time to do the job right. Floors end up uneven. Walls aren't plumb. Pipes get connected to the wrong outlets. These aren't things that happen because of one careless worker. They happen because the system is designed for speed, not quality. If you've been finding value in this breakdown, go ahead and subscribe. This channel is all about pulling back the curtain on the stuff that actually affects your wallet and your life. And there's a lot more coming. Now let's talk about something that most buyers would never think to check: weep holes. These are tiny gaps intentionally left in brick veneer to let moisture escape from inside the wall cavity. They sound minor. They are absolutely not minor. When builders skip them, water gets trapped behind the brick. Over time, that moisture rots the wooden structure underneath. You can't see it happening. By the time it's obvious, you're looking at potential foundation-level damage. Entire sections of wall may need to come down, all because someone skipped a gap the size of your pinky finger. Go underneath the house and things get worse. Crawl spaces in newer builds are often a complete mess. Vents that are supposed to regulate airflow are either missing or blocked. Ductwork for heating and cooling is left unsecured, hanging loose or disconnected from registers. Pipes running through the space have visible drips that have been ignored. Nobody checked. Nobody signed off. And the homeowner doesn't find any of this until something breaks badly enough to force them down there. Step back inside and look at the floors. Tile installations that should be flat and level have visible high spots and low points, uneven enough that you can feel it when you walk. Laminate flooring that was installed too tightly without expansion gaps begins to buckle and bow as the material responds to humidity changes. These are installation 101 failures. They're also expensive to fix because pulling up flooring and redoing it properly means moving furniture, potentially replacing the material entirely, and living in construction chaos for weeks. Windows and doors are another disaster zone. Proper window installation requires flashing. a thin layer of waterproof material that directs water away from the frame and prevents it from getting behind the siding. When that flashing is missing or done wrong, water infiltrates around the frame every time it rains. You end up with drafts in winter, moisture damage that rots the surrounding wood, and eventually window frames that fail entirely. Same story with doors. Gaps in the installation let in cold air, raise your energy bills, and compromise the seal that keeps weather outside where it belongs. Here's what ties all of this together. The builders know. They know the timelines are too aggressive. They know the subcontractors are rushing. They know that inspections aren't catching everything because inspections are brief, and there's pressure to move units. But the financial model rewards delivery speed, not quality. So the incentive to slow down, do it right, and deliver a home that actually holds up doesn't really exist in the current structure. Modular and prefab construction gets brought up as a solution. And there's something to that. Factory-built components can be more consistent than on-site work. But even prefab homes can skip the finishing details that matter. A wall panel built in a factory still needs to be properly sealed on-site. A prefab bathroom module still needs correct plumbing connections. The construction method doesn't fix the problem if the oversight culture doesn't change. So what can you actually do? The most important move any new build buyer can make is hiring an independent inspector before completing the purchase. Not the builder's inspector. Your own. Someone who has no financial relationship with the developer and no incentive to wave through a half-finished product. Pay for a full inspection, including the crawl space, the attic, every window, every door, and as much of the plumbing as can be accessed. If the builder resists giving you access for an independent inspection before handover, that resistance itself is information. Get every defect documented in writing before you move in. Don't accept verbal promises. Don't sign off on completion until the snagging list, the official list of unfinished or defective items, is actually resolved, not just acknowledged. Builders often push buyers to close on the property with the promise that issues will be fixed afterward. Once you've signed, your leverage drops dramatically. The housing market is hungry right now. There's demand everywhere. And that demand is being exploited by a construction industry that has figured out it can deliver less and still sell at full price. The buyer who does their homework, brings in an independent set of eyes, and refuses to close until the property is actually finished, is the buyer who doesn't end up with a crumbling ceiling 6 months in. Because that crack in your wall isn't settling. It's a receipt for a shortcut someone took the day your house was built.